Hello peeps, Mark Lawrence from Pengu Studios here. This is VR Dev for Non-Coders, and today I'm going to take your Behaviour Designer skills to a new level. I'm going to help you connect your Behaviour Designer with Playmaker. We're going to look at how that works. Also, I'm going to cover very quickly a cool asset called DoTween. I'm not really sure how to say that properly, but I'm going to refer it as DoTween for the duration of this tutorial at least. So let's get started. So here's our project that we finished last time. Just a quick reminder, let's press play here. And I haven't updated my Steam VR, so this is going to keep popping up. So we'll see if we can put it down here. So anyways, let's grab our leader and move it around. And we see that the follower is following it. And here's the behavior tree that we did last time. So now we're going to expand on that one. So I hope you saved your project last time. Otherwise, go back to the previous tutorial and quickly do this tree there. So now we need to do a few things to get ready. We need to hook this up with Playmaker. So how we do that, you go to the Opsiv website and opsiv.com, and there you find the assets tab here, go to Behavior Designer, and then go to the samples tab here. And first thing you need to do is you need to provide invoice number, the invoice number that you got when you bought a Behavior Designer from the asset store. So how do you find that? You go to your asset store, you go to your account, and then you click here, credit card and PayPal, and it gives you a list of all the transactions you've had, including all the receipt numbers. So you can use it here, invoice number. And once you click that in, then your page will look like this. And you can scroll down, find your Playmaker integration here, click on it, download it, and then you, for example, double click it there, or you do the classic assets import package and then custom package, and find that package and then install it to your project. So then you will have Playmaker tasks in your Behavior Designer task list. Send event, start FSM and stop FSM, variables, cool stuff. So today we're just gonna look at the send event. So what we want to do is while our follower is following, we want it to do something as well. So now it's just kind of following in a very straight line. So we could add an animation or all kinds of things to it, but I'm just gonna use this example to show what Playmaker can do for us and how we can connect these two together. So let's go here. So can see object, we're happy with that, but here we need to then start doing some magic. So let's right click here, add a task and composite task, and now we're going to use a parallel complete. Okay, so if you click on that, you'll get the gist of things here again. Similar to parallel selector task, well, that's very helpful because we haven't talked about what parallel selector task is, but parallel complete task will return the child status as soon as the child returns success or failure, and then it returns the status up the tree again. So let's connect these up. So we're going to use the parallel complete, and we hook up, move towards here. And then we want to add another task, a composite task, and a sequence this time. So a sequence task we've used before. So now what we want to do is we want to use the send event task. So grab that and connect it to that sequence. And if you double click on that, it's quite simple. So it asks for the game object where the FSM is. And if you keep your cursor there, it gives you some instructions here as well. Usually in Behavior Designer, if you leave this field empty, then it's going to presume that you are using the owner of the behavior tree as the game object that we're using here. So we're going to leave this empty. FSM name, we're gonna, in our future FSM, keep it like this. And then the event name that we want this send event to send is, let's call it yo. Yeah. Okay, and then we can even add a comment here. Yo. Beautiful. So then we see the event that we're dealing with. And I do like my idle tasks here. So let's Control C copy and Control V paste. So we get another one of these bad boys and connect it here. Okay, cool beans. So then what we want to happen is we want the FSM to do some magic. And then we want to stop that magic from happening when we actually reach our destination. So let's do that as well. And we'll do another sequence. So right click, add task, composites, sequence, connect it to the previous sequence, then connect your idle to that sequence. And let's send another event. So let's Control C copy, Control V paste, drag that in here. And double click on that, and then let's send an event called kill. All right, and let's change the comment here as well, kill. Good. Okay, so now if we look at this, there is no FSM to run yet, but if we just play. So things are happening as before. But now we've been to the send event. And if I move this, you see it, we're here running these parallel. And then when it reaches its destination, we go here and it sends this event. Okay, simple enough. So let's do a cool FSM then. So on the follower, let's go to our Playmaker editor. Right click, add FSM. We'll call this state listener as usual, and then we'll make an event called yo, and I've used capital Y's here, so make sure that you're using the same exact way of typing. So then right click here, add transition yo. Let's right click again, add a state, drag this transition to this new state, and we call this yo. And let's create another event, and we call that kill. Remember, that was the one that we named in Behaviour Designer. We'll add that transition here. Then right click again, add a state, and we'll call this state kill. And connect these two to each other, and then add transition, and then finished. I think will do the job. And then we go here. Okay, so now we have this beautiful loop going on here. So then how are we going to do this yo? This is where we want to start using some kind of animation tween engine. I used iTween before, and in VR we got to make sure everything's very streamlined and optimized, and iTween is very heavy. So as soon as I started having more than 1, 2, or 3 tweening things in the scene, things got really bad performance-wise. So I did some searching, and I found DoTween. Search for that. Couple of versions of it. There's a pro version and the free version, and for our purposes the free version does the job. So grab that, import it, and I already have it, but let's do some magic again. Okay, there we go. Now we do need to go and set this up. So go to Tools, Demi-Giant, and DoTween Utility Panel. And then you need to do this setup step here. So that it gets everything hooked up the way it should be. and then you should be good to go. So DoTween is animation engine. Again, engine, I don't know if I'm using the term right here, but there you go. What we also need is some Playmaker actions for DoTween. Now you have a couple of options. You can go to the DoTween website. Just Google DoTween and you'll land here. And go to the download tab and you scroll down. And Playmaker actions, there's a link here. So let's go to that. And that takes us to the Playmaker website. And here we have those actions. And these are free. Cool beans. I use a pro package. So if you click here, you get to Asset Store and you find the pro package here. Now, I've started using these for some reason. I can't really say now what is the difference between these two. There's same actions, there's different actions, they're different packages, different makers. I like these. They somehow work for me, but you can decide if you want to spend your €9 for this. But I use these. So you know how to install packages, so I don't have to go through that. So here's how you get those actions. So now back in Unity, let's use some DoTween Magic. DoTween is really, really nice and streamlined and optimized. And I've got tons of those happening in a VR scene and they work great. So let's go to our yo-yo task. And let's go to our actions browser and look for DoTween. So these are the pro actions here that I have, and then I have also the free actions here. So lots and lots and lots, both ways, a little bit more on the pro side. So what I would look for is transform local move Y. And on the free actions, you have, let's just see, move, transform to, or something like that. So, can't say for sure, but test it out if you have the free ones. The local move here, I'm gonna grab this one, double click, and I'm gonna put it here. Now, if you have this preview button clicked, you have this mega preview of the action here. Obviously you can get rid of it by clicking that preview button there. All right, so back in business, let's move this dude out of the way. So DoTween transform local move. So what we want to do is use the owner, and we want to have a target value. Let's do 1. So it's going to move to the value of 1 in the local Y space. And we could assign a game object that it wants to go to, but we don't want to do that this time. Set relative is great because then it just kind of calculates where you are and then it sort of adds that one to it. So let's click that. And duration, let's just see, 0.3 seconds. It's going to take for it to move up. And we can skip all this stuff, useful, but not this time. Tween ID we're going to need, so we're going to use game object, and that means that it stores the game object, the owner of this FSM, as the ID for the tween. You're going to see why we need it in a little bit. Ease settings, let's do in out quad maybe. And loop settings, these are cool. So setting loops to -1 will make the tween loop infinitely. So -1 sounds great. Loop type, we're gonna use yo-yo. Perfect. All right, so that's gonna go back and forth. And auto kill on completion, we can leave that as is. And yes, so now we are good. So let's see. So now this is gonna yo-yo up and down. When it goes into this action, and then when we get the kill message, let's go to the kill task and then search for kill. So kill by ID, let's use that one. So now we use the game object type ID and game object as ID. So now we want to get that self here. So how do we do that? I find that it's really good practice to do this initialize states. We could have get the owner here, but again, when VR has to do with optimizing and having as little as possible happening in the scene while you're playing, I've at least adopted the method where I try and put all the things, all the information that I need to collect in an FSM to an initialized state. So when the scene starts, it collects everything it needs to run, so it doesn't have to go searching anything in the middle of gameplay and slow things down potentially. So let's create an initialized state, and let's set that as the start state. And then add transition finished, and we connect it to that listener. And the thing we needed to get was the owner of this FSM. And we're going to store that game object as a variable. And for some reason, I've started calling the owner self. Could get confusing. You decide if you want to call this owner or self, but I go for self. All right, so then back to our kill task. And then the object ID that we needed was self. So now if we go here and we set the ID here as game object, that's going to say that whenever this ID game object is called, then it will kill the infinite loop that we set here. So it just doesn't randomly keep on running. So here we can kill it. Okay, and complete. We tick this one and it completes immediately what it was doing. Okay, so now let's see if things work. So let's go to Behaviour Designer first. This is really exciting. Let's choose the leader here. I have the lock on here, so things don't move. If I don't have it, then I lose my tree every time I select something else. So keep the lock on for now. So let's see what happens. And you see our follower is yo-yoing while moving. Amazing, isn't it? So let's put it here. And there you go, there you go, there you go. And here we go. So here it sends the yo-yo event. We have our DoTween working. And then here it sends the kill event. And we get our kill task happening here. Or action. It's very hard to keep these sorted tasks, actions. You get the idea. And then it kills the DoTween, and then we're good again. Back to the listener. Okay, so you can then with this sort of setup call all kinds of cool things that need to happen in your game, in your VR adventure. Because this way you can very, in a nice way, control your FSM flow. So your Behaviour Designer controls the events in your Playmaker. Now, as you saw, there's cool synchronizing options here. Maybe I'll cover those later. These are for synchronizing variables and starting, stopping FSM. So pretty simple and basic stuff, but this is really powerful. So that was Behaviour Designer together with Playmaker and DoTween. Obviously, you can do so much more with these amazing tools, but this will get you started. Now a little tip. As I mentioned earlier, I've been working on this VR adventure called Escape from Millennialheim. Check out my Patreon page. It will be really amazing to see you there. And if you decide to become a patron, that would help me a lot to produce more tutorials, more often. My name was Marco Lawrence from Pengu Studios, and this was VR Dev for Non-Coders. See you next time. Bye.